If you want to fit in with your friends, blend in with the crowd, then you're going to live a normal life, doing normal things, achieving normal results. But if you want to achieve an extraordinary life, doing extraordinary things, you're going to need to be weird. Hi everyone, I'm Shaharaj. I was born in the Philippines, I grew up in Bangladesh, and I came to Singapore when I was 19. I currently live and work in Singapore, and if you want to know my secret, it's actually not following the thoughts of those around me. This is an overview of what we're going to cover in relation to my secret of not giving a fuck about whatever the people around me are thinking ever. So first we're going to go over a definition of weirdness, and then I'm going to explain why comfort will literally kill all of your dreams. And finally, I'm going to share an example of a friend of mine who stayed behind, chose not to go to college. So let's go over, like what does weirdness even mean, right? So conceptually, let's think of you being in a social group, right? Where everyone wants to eat cheeseburgers, but you say, "No, I want to eat hot dogs," right? You are labeled weird because you are different from everyone else in your social group. That's it. You are just different in your preferences and the way you think and the way you approach the world, the way you see the world, the way you assume things, right? And there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. Of course, I mean, it depends on what you think, but at the end of the day, diversity in thought is something that needs to be protected, right? Of course, it doesn't matter for the mundane things like, oh, what are we going to eat today? If everyone eats cheeseburgers, I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Or if, say, everyone wants to wear, I don't know, black, like for the most part, you can pass on it. But it becomes especially dangerous when it comes to things such as what do we think? How do we think? What do I want to do with my life, right? If everyone thinks that, okay, I'm going to work for 40 years and then I'm going to settle down after, I'm going to have two kids, like, do you really just want to work for 40 years of your life? Like, have you thought about how long that is? Like, won't you try to do something else? It to me that's insanity, right? And so, when you follow the what everyone else is doing, what normal people are doing, you're going to achieve the same normal results. And arguably you could even achieve below average results. You know why? If you don't have as good as a process as anyone else, as the most competent people, you're going to be below average. You know, best case, you could be above average if you have a really good process, but that's it, right? If you want to achieve extraordinary outcomes, you need to be willing to do something extraordinary. You need to be willing to think in completely different ways to everyone else. You need to be weird, right? You need to be weird in the way you think. You need to be different from the rest of your social group. And I'll give you an example of this, right? Back in 2016, I had a professor who was talking about Bitcoin. Nobody really listened to him, but in 2019, when Bitcoin, skyrocketed, he cashed out and he bought a house. And he got so wealthy to the point that he could even, stop working his job at a college and just do whatever he wants because he had that money, he had that freedom. And the only reason why he had that freedom is because he thought differently compared to everyone else. People thought that he was weird. People thought of him as that Bitcoin guy. And now that Bitcoin guy cashed out on, his asymmetrical reward. And so this brings me to my second point that comfort will literally kill your dreams, right? Because if you follow what everyone else is doing, if you stay within your comfort zone, which is, what your social group is doing, you're never going to achieve extraordinary results, right? Comfort will be, as put by David Goggins, a Navy SEAL and an endurance athlete, comfort is the ultimate dream killer, right? And so I want to share with you this tweet which I came across from this um, crypto person, crypto influencer who I came across and I respect because he turned $5,000 into $350,000. Whether it's luck or skill, that's up for debate, but that's still to his effect, right? And he's done this multiple times. I've always believed with all my heart it's better to have no friends than unambitious and lazy friends. Many people choose the latter. The same can be said about the content you consume. It is better to consume zero content than to get it from people that will end up holding you back as you adopt beliefs and perspectives that will not better your future. Choose the wrong people to follow, and you will head in the wrong direction with them. And so, if you don't think for yourself, if you don't understand what you're trying to do with your life, if you just go along with the crowd, you're going to achieve the same normal results or worse than what everyone else is achieving, right? And there's this quote by Mark Manson, which I want to share with you. Statistically speaking, the average person is emotionally depressed, financially in debt, um, you know, just all of these horrible things. Screw being normal, right? And so this brings me to my last point where, when I was leaving for college, I was working for this marketing agency. It was run by my friend. I was the fifth employee at the time. And, when I was leaving, I said, "Hey man, what are your post school plans?" He said, "I'm going to work on my business." And I said, "Whoa, that's crazy." And it's crazy because, for Bangladeshis, when we want a better future, we usually go abroad, right? Because then you can study there and then you can live and work there, so on and so forth. And he said, "No, I'm going to work on my business and I'll see how it goes." I catch up with him 4 years later and he's done fantastic, right? He has grown the business in terms of sales, in terms of employees, in terms of profit, and now he's living the life he wants to live, right? Every day he wakes up whenever he wants, he reads, he programs, and he texts his employees, "What's the status?" Right? He is a complete boss in every definition of that word, right? And, I love that for him. For the rest of us who managed to leave and go abroad, and, we're now doing jobs that we might like, but at the end of the day, it is subject to whether a company offers that job. If a company doesn't need that job, then we're going to be stuck doing things that we don't really like with our lives, right? But he has freedom to do what he wants, when he wants, how he wants it. And so, you know, that's really all I want to share. If you don't think for yourself, if you don't do the uncomfortable, if you don't fully take control of your life and just go with the flow, you're going to achieve nothing relative to everyone else. You might have a superior process, you might get above average results, but that's it. If you want outsized results, if you want asymmetrical reward, if you want to live the life enjoyed by the top 1%, you need to start thinking outside of the box. Or maybe then you would be thinking inside the box, because then everyone else is trying to think outside the box as well. Anyways, let's say that you have taken this first step and you want to go ahead and do the things you want to do, but you're still afraid that people will pull you down. I think you should stop giving a fuck. And the way you do that is you can watch my video here or there on detachment, and that should set you up on completely removing any emotional attachment to what people care. And then you will just go and do the things which you want to do. All right, have a good weekend.